All right, here we go with part 2 of reviewing rational expressions. Today we're going to multiply and divide. Remember that this was, our steps for just simplifying. Multiplying is pretty much the same thing, but I just want to remind you that for divide, we're going to keep the first rational expression the same. Don't forget to change the multiplication symbol to a division sign. And then, of course, we're going to multiply by the inverse or simply just flip the second fraction. So let's go ahead and get started with our example for multiplying and dividing. So here we have multiplying and dividing. So please remember the first thing you need to do is you have to factor. So I'm going to go ahead and factor this top numerator right here. So remember 2 times 3 is a 6. And what kind of number is multiplied to a 6 that makes a 7? That is going to be a positive 6 and a positive 1. So remember, these two numbers are what I'm going to use for my factor by grouping. So I am going to do 2x squared plus 6x plus 1x plus 3. And then, of course, I'm going to break this into a group, and then we're going to factor out our GCF. So for the first group, I can take out a 2x, and that's going to be leaving an x plus 3. This is already an x plus 3, but remember, you have to factor out anything at all. So if it's already what you want, you are just going to factor out a 1. So the factors for the top are going to be 2x plus 1 and then x plus 3. So that's the brand new numerator for our first fraction. Our second fraction, our denominator is just x minus 4, so I'm going to be good there. Recopy that multiplication dot, and then our brand new, or our second piece of the fraction, the second piece of the problem, that x squared minus 16, that's x minus 4, x plus 4. And then the bottom is going to be an x plus 3, and then an x plus 5. Now, I know I see things that can cancel out. Do not forget, you got to state your restrictions. So for multiplying restrictions, I really don't have to check twice. I know x cannot equal a 4, x cannot equal a negative 3, and x cannot equal a negative 5. So now I'm going to go ahead and start canceling things out. I have a pair of x plus 3. I have some x minus 4s. And, that goes with that one. You know what? I will just make this a minus and that a plus. And if you go in a comment section and tell me my mistake, you know what that leads to. So go ahead and throw that in the comment section for our weekly Q&A. Harrington made a mistake as usual. Okay, so anyway, the good news is I did catch it. So our final answer is just going to be 2x plus 1, x plus 4 over x plus 5. Okay, so let's kind of continue and take a look at our next example. Guys, remember when you do this stuff, you can't really have a negative x. If you have a negative x, you need to factor out a negative 1. So this is going to change into negative 1, and then the x is now positive, and the 4 is now a negative. Before I continue, right now, I know that x cannot equal a negative 2/3. X cannot equal a 2. Same, already got it right there. And I have a y. So I know that y cannot equal a positive 5/7. And I know that because I set each of these little baby binomials equal to 0 and then just solve for the letter. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave, change, flip, multiply by the inverse. So remember, we rewrote the numerator to look like this. And remember, when we multiply, multiplication dot, and we are going to go ahead and flip that 7y minus 5. And then down here is going to be 5 times x. Before I continue, I need to make sure that I have all of my restrictions, and I do not. I need to add now that x cannot equal a positive 4. So I'm going to put that there. All right, now we're going to go ahead and simplify. If we have anything to simplify, and we certainly do, those are going to cancel out. So are these. So that is going to leave a negative 1 on top times a 7y minus 5. Underneath, we just have a 5 and a 3x plus 2 over a 5 times a 3x plus 2. And then go ahead and box that in, and remember you got to box in your restriction. Okay, let's move on, and I'd really like for you guys to try your own example. So I am going to go ahead and put this up here. Please try this on your own. Also remember to state your restrictions. Pause the video. Come on, give yourself a chance. Here it is. How'd you do?